Yeah, now start.
Every single day is a good day, no matter how bright or dark it is, because it always brings an opportunity. Make today another wonderful day. Very good morning to all. Universal Intellectual Trust is marching towards an extra mile with a smile in the momentous task of molding minds. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone for allocating time as their busy schedule to attend this function on the behalf of UIT Trust. Heartily welcomes all of you present. Today is a special and memorable occasion, one that we will remember in the year ahead. Once again, I welcome this September gathering. The joyful heart sees and reads the world with a sense of freedom and graciousness. We invite our greeter, Dr. A.S. Ganesh Raja, UIT chairman, to spray the sweet aroma of happiness through the words of welcome.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. It is very blessed to welcome to all the participants today for webinar on Wondrous World of One-Dimensional Materials. I first like to welcome our today's resource person. Today's research persons Dr. Ella Sobin, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, SRM University of Science and Technology, Tiruchirappalli. Welcome you, sir. Just I like to introduce our UIT trust activities and like that. So please see my slides. We are doing some education and scientific research activities in this forum. Education and scientific research are one of both of the major tools for growing the intellectual society. So intellectual society only can make a modern world with a peaceful life, clean environment, utilization of renewable energy source, etc. So in this great manner, our UIT takes essential steps for creating the intellectual peoples using various advanced tools of modern educations with research related to science and technology. It creates social awareness necessary for establishing a health society. So this is our UIT website, official website. You can go and visit our all information here. uh, this is myself and Dr. K Rajkumar, Secretary of UIT, and Dr. S Chandrasekhar, Treasurer of this UIT. We are both found this trust for doing education and research related activities, as well as we are taking some steps for social activities also. So here we have two coordinators in this trust, Dr. Y Sasikumar, coordinator of the UIT, and Dr. S Tirumurugan, coordinator of this UIT. So I am welcome you, secretary, treasurer, and coordinators for this webinar. And we have some volunteers from Alagappa University, Karaikudi. We also expect some more volunteers from various institutions, various colleges, various schools also. So if you are willing to join us, please join with us and send email to us. So first we are this is our blog. We are publishing some e-content in this blog, scientific news blog. So we have nearly this is our blog site. So we have nearly 100 e-content in this forum. So in this forum, we have to focus only recent research on this e-content. So most of the contents are related to more useful and more related to modern world. So we are discussing many research papers in this forum. So if you are willing to contribute some e-contents, please contact with us. And then uh, we have to conduct many events like starts from e-quizzes. So already we done to we e-quizzes in chemical sciences and physical sciences. We are going to conduct mathematics, biological, geography, computer science also. So we are expecting your cooperations for these things. And then we already conduct one webinar on turning an idea into a pattern. Research person Dr. KT Varghese, he is gave a good lecture on this field. Today we are going to conduct the second webinar on wondrous world of one-dimensional materials. Our resource persons, Dr. L.R. Shobin, he is very knowledgeable persons for this field. So I hope you all enjoy this session. Um, so we also hearing some scientific expert from various field like biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, computer science, geography, and so many fields. If you interested, you can send your CV to us, and then we have to discuss some scientific manner to conduct some webinars or conference seminars and so on. We also call some research scholars to discuss articles, many recent articles in any field, any scientific field. So if you interested, you can join us. So we also call e-content writers in various science field, publishing in SNB blog. Some contents will be published in book with ISBN number. So if you interested, you can join us. uh, and then I am happy to tell you that our trust has completed first year, and it takes good forward steps for second year. I expect all your cooperations in future events. I really happy to do this type of activities, and we are expecting more cooperations from all of you. Thank you very much. I once again I welcome Dr. Erla Sobin, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, SRM University, for giving today's lecture. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. As great as the density he seeks, as great as the life he lives, as great as the help he gives, it is province of knowledge to speak, but the privilege of wisdom to listen. Now I invite Dr. Y. Shashikumar, UAT Coordinator, for the introduction of Chief Guest.
Thank you, Sulatani, and the honorable passenger. A warm welcome and a good morning to honorable passenger for the today's.
Sima, please check your audio. Increase your voice.
Hope it is audible.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Good morning to honorable passenger, and a warm welcome to all the participants and today's guest. I would like to most privileged to welcome today's chief guest, Dr. L. Shobi. It is audible to everyone.
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Today's chief guest is Dr. L. Shobi, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, Israel and Institute of Advanced and Science in University of Dr. Shobin has completed his undergraduate degree from New Indian International University, Tirunelveli, followed by his master's degree in Madras National Technology Campus, Anna University, Tiruchirappalli, and followed by his MTech program uh, and his PhD degree from National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli. Later on, he did his postdoctoral research at Central for Nano and Soft Material Sciences, followed by a postdoc at Technical University Monash, Germany. Later on, he worked as an uh, assistant professor contract at Central University of Tamil Nadu, and he has also received many awards, like, like Best Paper Award in the PhD program, and various DST juniorship, junior and senior research fellowship, equipped, and some research grants, and some Travel Award, Research Excellence Award, and postdoctoral award from Germany, and European postdoctoral travel grant from Netherlands. And he has published various papers, followed by two patents in 2018. The one is on improved transparent electro-thermal devices, and the other one is on gas sensor based on nanowires and quantum nanotube structures. So currently now he is working as a assistant professor at SRM University, Tiruchirappalli campus. So we welcome you for today's talk, and we invite you to present your seminars. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Sasi Kumar, for Dr. Sasi Kumar, for a nice introduction. Let me take a minute to share my screen.
Yeah, okay, sure.
The slides are visible, right?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very warm welcome to one and all. Especially, I wish to thank everyone, especially the chairman and secretary and the coordinators, treasurers, everyone of this UIT Trust for inviting me to deliver a lecture on wondrous world of one-dimensional materials. And I especially thank Rajkumar for inviting me and giving an opportunity to share our knowledge, and Satish Kumar for a nice introduction. So basically, this talk is about couple of materials. Those are all one-dimensional materials. So we all very curious. We all know very well about this recent development of this two-dimensional material, like graphene and all. However, this one-dimensional materials also having a great interest in the material science world. So the talk is something like this. So the outline of the talk is I will be introducing this one-dimensional materials, then how we are able to realize the devices using this one-dimensional material, especially using this carbon nanotubes as well as this metallic nano wires, silver nano wires, and other one-dimensional structures, network of structures, how we are able to realize some of the devices in a transparent, devices with transparency. So mainly these applications are mainly transparent conducting films. We can use it as a heaters, gas sensors, but all the devices are transparent in nature. Finally, I will summarize some of my results. So wonders, coming to the wonders, there are so many wonders in the world, especially we all know about the 7 wonders, right? One is from our country, Taj Mahal. There are so many wonders in the world, but these 7 wonders are gained more interest because of their peculiar properties. Say, for example, Great Wall of China is a very lengthy structure in the world, and if you consider this Taj Mahal, they were built in a special manner. Likewise, there are so many wonders in the world, but these wonders attracted the people. Likewise, there are numerous material in the world. However, the carbon has attracted the world. The carbon has many electrodes, starting from amorphous carbon to expensive carbon nanotube, I would say. So even though it has many electrodes, the cheapest form of this carbon, you can get it around, say for example, 1 gram, you may 100 kilogram of ash or amorphous carbon, you can get it around 100 rupees. But the very expensive form of carbon is nothing but the carbon nanotube. Say for example, 1 gram of carbon nanotube with a very good grade of with high purity and all, which will cost around $1,300 US. That much, the same material with respect to its properties, with respect to its dimension, with respect to its crystallographic structure, the amount of price is increased, as well as the quality of the material is increased, as well as the devices realizable using this material, the opportunity using this material is wide. So, depending upon the property of material, the price will also increase. So, let me introduce a special one of this material is carbon nanotube. So, in the carbon world, if you take the carbon allotrope, there are different allotropes are there: graphite, carbon nanotube, diamond. But each allotrope will have its own optical, electrical, chemical properties. This I'm going to stick with only this carbon nanotube, which was invented, discovered by Sumio Ijima, 1991. First, Sumio Ijima invented this multi-wall carbon nanotube. After a couple of years, Bell Laboratory as well as the Sumio Ijima invented the single-wall carbon nanotubes. The credit for the invention of single-wall carbon nanotube was going to the Sumio Ijima. I will tell you the reason. The same Nature article published the invention of single-wall carbon nanotube by Sumio Ijima as well as the Bell Laboratory. However, the date of communication for that paper is Sumio Ijima communicated the paper first. So, still the credit goes to Sumio Ijima for the invention of single-wall carbon nanotube. So, in a world, so many people are working with the same goal. So, who is achieving first, who is communicating the result first, that matters in the world of research. So, coming to the other materials, say for example, I'm not biased to the one-dimensional materials. The 2D materials was invented by the concept of idea for this 2D material as well as coloring was proposed by Richard Smalley in 1985, but he received the award for the Nobel Prize in 1996. Later, in 2010, the Nobel Prize was awarded to the Andrew Geim and Navaslov for the invention of two-dimensional material, nothing but the graphite. So likewise, this carbon, if you take the carbon world, it received, for the allotropes, it received it back 3 Nobel Prize. The prestigious awards in the world, but so far he was not awarded with the Nobel Prize, since the concept of one-dimensional material was proposed by the Richard Smalley. That may be the reason material world was keenly looking on this Nobel Prize distribution group to award a Nobel Prize to Sumio Ijima. Then what are they? These tubes, carbon nanotubes. These are all the hollow cylinder. So you take a graphene sheet, roll it out, you will be end up with a carbon nanotube. Based on the rolling, you may get 3 different structures. However, they are all having some different electronic properties. Say for example, some will behave as a semiconductor, some will behave as a metallic in nature, based on the rolling of this carbon nanotube. So it can be available at open structure or a capped structure. So the ends of these tubes can be open or it can be capped. So mainly first discovered nanotube structure is multi-wall carbon nanotubes, and the second one is from the same Ijima, the single wall, after a couple of years. So what is the special about these tubes? The quantum mechanical prediction says that their electrical modulus is 1 terapascal, which is 7 times greater than that of conventional stainless steel. And if you look at the conductivity of copper wire will be quantum mechanical calculations predicts that the conductivity of this carbon nanotubes is 1,000 times greater than that of copper wire. The area of coverage will be more, the weight will be less, strength will be more. So it may look like a weight is like a plastic and the strength is almost 7 times greater than that of steel. So such a special material, this carbon nanotubes. So these are all the properties mainly uh, deduced from the quantum mechanical calculations. So people are trying to achieve this property in a real world. Okay. Uh, Let me move on to the next slide. Okay. Now I am entirely deviating from our talk. So what I'm going to talk about is transparent devices and coatings. So far we have some fundamental about this carbon nanotube. We all know that carbon nanotube allotrope of carbon is black in color, but still we have an opportunity to uh, fabricate a transparent device by decreasing thickness of this coating. So transparency gained more interest in nowadays because most of the devices are people are trying to fabricate in a transparent manner. Already transparent devices like transparent TV, transparent heaters are already realized in the market, and some of them are commercially available. Moreover, you can realize this using this carbon nanotubes. You can realize some flexible devices also. You can create a e-papers, flexible electronic circuits, flexible e-readers, flexible mobile phones also. So these coatings, transparent conducting coatings, have a wide opportunity in this. So what are those parameters? If you take a transparent electrode, two things are very important. One is its resistance. So if a electrode is good, if the resistance of that electrode should be less. If it is less, then only that can be used for many applications. The resistance will be high, so we have to deal it as a insulator. So this electrode's resistance should be less, and it should have a transparency. If it is not having a transparency, we cannot categorize that electrode as a transparent electrode. A transparent electrode will only find application in different sectors. So what is the applications based on its resistance as well as its transparency? If you have a very less resistance film or electrode with high transparency, you can directly use it in a solar cell. Say for example, you have a film of heat resistance of 500 ohm and 80 to 90% of transparency. You can use that film in a touch screen. Okay, so if you are able to achieve a film with a resistance of 500 ohm and a transparency from 80 to 90%, you will find different potential applications in different sense. You can use it as a defoggers. You can use it as a flexible displays if you are able to realize a device on flexible substrates. So how we are going to fabricate such a transparent film using this black powder carbon nanotube? So first you should have a carbon nanotube. You should have a black material in a clean material or a purified carbon nanotube, which can be obtained using the CVD growth or a solution CVD growth or solution based method. You can deposit a film. So still I'm looking with the solution based process because it has an advantage. You can use it at low temperature, and comparatively to the CVD growth, this solution processing will have a very less cost. The cost for this method is very less compared to the CVD process, as well as you don't need a vacuum. You don't need to work with a vacuum system in order to produce a transparent film using its solution process. So as I already mentioned in the previous slide, depending upon your sheet resistance as well as transparency, you will find potential applications. So our aim is to produce a 100 ohm per square resistance as with a 90% of transparency. So what I'm going to do, what I did is I will fabricate take a CNT powder, and I will make a dispersion, then simply spray the tube dispersion. Okay, we have a powder. Say for example, you have a carbon nanotube powder or you have a black carbon powder. How you can realize a dispersion? There are so many methods you can realize the dispersion. You can use the surfactants, polymers, or organic solvents. However, if you use the surfactant or polymer, so what it will do is it will wrap around these carbon nanotubes and it will stick on these tubes, which will kill its original property of these nanotubes. Okay, if the surfactants or polymers are insulating in nature, they are definitely kill its properties. So there is an approach nowadays people are following. They will use this conducting polymers. However, my interest, I don't want polymers which affect its conductivity. I don't want any residues. So I don't want any of the surfactant or polymers for my dispersion. I stick with organic solvents. What I take is I took the purified carbon nanotube, single wall carbon nanotubes, and I have taken this N-methyl pyrrolidone as an organic solvent. Using some sonicator, I just disperse the tube in the organic solution. So with up to, I can simply vary the quantity of nanotubes in this solution or N-methyl pyrrolidone. So I am able to get a decent dispersion out of it. So in this process, no surfactants are used, no polymers are used, and fortunately, these solutions are stable for 24 hours. This dispersion is stable for 24 hours. So within 24 hours, you can do all the processing. And interestingly, these suspension you can spray on any substrates. So if we have a solution, you can make a film out of different process. Okay, you can have a new lot of process. You can couple any of these two process. You can get a decent films. You can use filtration method, or you can spray it. You can dip coat it. You can use spin coating. So many processes you can use. However, each method has its own advantage as well as a disadvantage. But I'm sticking with the spray coating process because it's relatively easy when compared to the other process. And drying of solvents using this spray coating, meantime once you can spray, meantime you can dry it also. So you can easily achieve a uniform coating and you can scale up the process to any arbitrary substrates also. So that is very interesting. So I'm sticking with the spray coating process. I have used this spray coating machine for my fabrication of this transparent conducting films. So these are some of the parameters. If you see the temperature, I have really go for a 200 degree in order to dry the solvent. And the solvent is again NMP. I have to use a moderate pressure to spray this solution or the dispersion. And if you repeat the coatings, you will have a different thickness of films. What will be the transparency? Say for example, I have a printed paper. Over that, I place 3 of my films. The printed sheet, through these films, you can see the letters. So it's from my PhD work. So I have
Yes, sir.
placed
Yes, sir.
these films on this printed sheet. You can see the films are transparent. And
Madam,
these
madam.
films are tested in UV with NA spectra also.
Yeah,
If you test it, they
you
are
are
transparent in
asking any
UV
questions?
and UV with NA region also. These films are good at transparency. What you will see in the microscope. So far the film is transparent. Once you increase the number of coating, the transparency is decreased. What you will see, if seen through the microscope, what you will see is a network of these carbon nanotubes. So you cannot see any individual nanotubes. They are all bundled together. They are all bundled in nature. They are bundled together and they are forming like a web-like structure over this substrate. These are all the SEM images of these web-like structures on the surface of the glass substrate. Okay. So far the films are good. Transparency is achieved. Let me check the electrical properties. So in order to test it, I fabricated a silver electrode on it. I want to test whether this electrode is on having a contact of ohmic or Schottky contact. If it is a ohmic contact, whatever the resistance I measured is from the films, I can assure that there is no resistance variance between this electrode as well as fabricated film. So I tested that device in IV curve. So it's linear in nature. So it shows that these contact electrodes are ohmic in nature and their resistance are like 760 ohm per square. Since the film resistance, the transparency is good, film resistance is a little bit high, I cannot use it for this solar cell applications. So what I have done, I use this film for sensors. Okay, so I have used this transparent fillings for sensors. Since the resistance is high, I cannot go for the solar cells. So what I have done, so I have used this filling for sensing. What is this sensors? Sensors are the devices, right? So they are all the devices capable of detecting some things. So who is the best sensor? Human is the best sensor, right? So we can detect even a small pressure. We can see the changes in the light. We can smell the fragrance, and we can even hear some minute noises. So we are all having a very good senses. But our senses has limitations. Say for example, you cannot see a wavelength of 200 nanometer. You cannot hear the sound which is 30,000 or 40,000 decibel. Likewise, our human senses have limitations. In order to overcome such limitations, we need sensors. There are so many sensors are available in the market, like pressure sensor and gas sensors. I am sticking with gas sensors. That too, ammonia sensors. Why I am still with ammonia sensors is they have India is the second largest producer of ammonia, and many of the system there are many health hazard using this ammonia also. So in order to detecting this ammonia is very essential for the human health, and sometimes it will tell about your breathing gases, sometimes tell about your presence of your toxicity level in your human body system also. Likewise, concentrating on ammonia sensor is very essential. Depending upon the level of the sensor, we can use it for different applications. Say for example, if it is a very good sensor with a parts per billion level of detection, you can go for environmental monitoring. So if the sensor is able to sense more than 20 ppm, then you can go for a chemical leakage in a factories or somewhere. So far, the metal oxides are used for the sensors. The carbon nanotubes are new for them. So I have what I have used for this gas sensing setup is something like this. So I have a controlled flow of air and which pass through the desired concentration of ammonia, which will carry the ammonia vapor to the sensing chamber or the testing chamber, where I have placed my film, which was connected with the resistance measurement unit and controlled by computer. So the process is simple. The humidity maintained constant, and you supply the gas to the film. And obviously, you will see some resistance change, which is a two-probe method and a direct measurement of this resistance, and that can be monitored with the computer. So, what is the selectivity of the sensor? So, what I will get if I pass the gas vapor into the system, the resistance of the film will change. So, we are calculating the response for different gases like methanol, ethanol, different, I would say the different vapors, acetone and ammonia. They are giving a more response to the ammonia vapor. I would say this sensor is more selective to the ammonia vapor. What is the mechanism behind it? So I assume that most of the tubes films are having the resistance in the greater than that of 500 ohm, and mainly these fillings are in a semiconductor in nature. If you take a semiconductor nanotube, holes are the majority carriers. The whole carrier flow will responsible for the resistance or flow of charges in the film. Once you expose these nanotubes with your ammonia vapor, what will do? The ammonia will donates its free electron, which will pull down the whole carrier concentration. Then it will shoot up the resistance of the tube. So the process is simple. The ammonia will physically absorb over the surface of this nanotubes, which will donate its free electron, and which will pull down this whole. Find out some theoretical limit what minimum value we can go with the sensor, and it is in the range of parts per billion. So the detection limits are in parts per billion. So these sensors can be used for this explosive detection and reaction monitoring also. Another one application of this film is, even though these films are having a high resistance in nature, these films are effectively used for a heating purpose. So what it is, these heaters, you have a low, less resistance film or resisting material. Once you give a power to them, they will joule heat it. It will produce a heat
Excuse me, sir.
using
I
this
have one
joule heating
small
process. So
common
once
question.
I supply this power
In
to the
in
system,
practical, we
to
have
this
to
film,
do
it
some UG
started
and PG
producing
level
heat,
practicals. How
and with
these
respect to the
practicals
voltage, I
can
have
useful
measured the
in
temperature
industry?
of these films.
Because
So I
we
can able to
need to
measure the
implement
temperature of
some
the
more things in our practicals,
films using the
we
IR
need to
camera,
check, because some of the
which is
students
having a millikelvin
get
resolution.
placement in
So
some
the temperature
pharmaceutical
is very
industries,
precise,
but
and
they
you
are
can see
saying
from the graph,
we have not
when the applied voltage
managed
increases, the temperature of the
1
film also
year or
increases,
two
which is
years in
almost
your
linear
work
like
is
behavior
very
with
tough
respect
to
to the
do
applied
like that.
voltage.
So
So you
how
can
we
easily tune
implement
the
in our
temperature. If you
practicals,
want to say,
how
for example, if you want
we
100
need to change something in
degree
our
heat,
practicals
I would
in
say you can go for
UG
a 40
level or
volt.
PG level?
Likewise, with respect to the input voltage, I can choose the temperature what we want. So we can use it as a temperature controllers. So if you want 150 degree, I will suggest you to go for a 50 volt, you may get a 150 degree. So this can be used as a temperature controllers. If you calculate the power consumption of these heaters, there are low power heaters actually. Conventional low power heater, then our conventional heater, what we use in our kettle or water heaters. And other than that, these heaters are transparent in nature. Other heaters are not actually. So these heaters can be used in the car buildings or car shield, windshield. You can remove the fog with that, and you can if you are living in a cold place, you can use these glasses on your windows, and you can warm your room actually by supplying a current actually. So here there is a demonstration. You can see the caption A, B, C figure captions. You can see that the film is. I kept the film in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, and there is a frost over this film. And if I supply a voltage of 30 volt, it is able to remove the fog effectively. So these films can be used as a transparent heaters. So these films will find potential application in these kind of activities like the joule heating. You can have a controlled heating with these films, and you can use it for a de-icing application. You can remove the ice actually. You can even use it for a water heater also. Especially these films will find potential application in aerospace, because in aeroplane you have to coat these kind of resistive heaters in your windshield actually. Then only some fog is there or some rain is there, you can remove it. Conventionally, people are using indium doped tin oxide coatings for these kind of heatings. So that can be removed with these kind of films. Then I am going to go for another one-dimensional material, which is silver nanowires. These are all also another category of one-dimensional material. So far, I have talked how a black color material with respect to the processing methods. You can fabricate a transparent film. Here I have a reflecting metal actually. So what is that metal? Is nothing but the silver. This is a piece of silver, in a crystalline silver in a three-dimensional structure. But if you go for the one-dimensional material in a very low length scale, we can have a transparent film using this silver nanowires. What are all these materials? Why I need to go for these metals actually? Metals are excellent conductors. We all know, right? They are all having a gas of electron. They are having the pool of electron over its surface, so which will have a high conductivity. But you can go for a different metals, right? So why I stick with the silver? Why I can't go for a gold? Because it's expensive, right? Gold is expensive. Okay, why don't we go for a copper? Copper is cheap, but stability point of view, they are easily corrosible, and they are easily oxidizable.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
silver is a noble metal,
Yeah,
and
thank you, thank you.
the
And then another
cost
one
wise, I
question.
can
One of my student last
negotiate with the
time
gold,
joined in one
and
company, and
it is
then
bit
after he
higher than that of
joined,
copper.
he
Still,
come and
it is very
asked
cheaper
me
than
I
that of gold.
need to do
So metals are
PhD in
low
part time
resistance.
because
They are
this
the silver
MSc
already
qualification
used
is not
in
enough in
interdigitated electrodes
pharmaceutical
using the
industry.
lithography
I need
process.
to do
But
so
what I'm going to do is
PhD. He
solution
he is
process,
asking
which
like
is
that. So this MSc
compatible one with
qualification is
many
enough
arbitrary
to
substrates.
work in
So what I
industry,
need
or
is
they
I need a
must
highly
need a
crystalline,
PhD?
high aspect ratio
Just
silver nano wires.
just your
Okay.
opinions,
So
not
with,
exact
I need
answer. Just I
which
want
should be
your
processable
opinions.
with the solution process.
Just
So how we can realize this silver nano wire thin films? You can realize you have to synthesize this wire, then you uniformly lay down that wires on a desired substrate that can be a flexible plastic, or that can be a glass or quartz. So it's that based on that same, like a nanotube, if you have a different resistance with the, if you have a low resistance and if you have a good uh, conductive transparency, you will find different applications. So in what way I can synthesize this silver nanowires? There are so many methods are available. You can synthesize using hydrothermal, photoreduction, polyol process. I am going to stick with a polyol process because polyol process is a simple process, and when compared to the hydrothermal, you don't need a higher pressure. And when you go for a template-based process, removal of this template is very tedious. I stick with the polyol process, which is very simple. In the polyol process also, there are so many polyols. There are glycerol, ethylene glycol. Likewise, there are polyols, different polyols are there. But I'm going to stick with the glycerol because instead of ethylene glycol, which is a sweet poison, which will have a high negative effect on the environment. But glycerol is an environmentally friendly solvent actually. So the production of glycerol is increasing day by day, and every year the production of glycerol is increased from the market actually. There are a couple of reports already reported using this glycerol process, how you can synthesize nanowires using this, but their aspect ratio was very less. They are not able to realize the transparent conducting films using their silver nanowire crystals. So I'm modified the process. So I call it as a modified polyol glycerol, modified polyol mediated modified polyol process. The process is simple. So you can synthesize the wire within 30 to 40 minutes actually. It's a rapid process actually. So I use a chlorine as a etching agent. For that I use a sodium chloride as a etching agent. And you mix it together, everything together, and heat it up, you will be ending up with a silver nanowire. So it's a one-part process. You don't need to go for a step-by-step process. You mix it together, heat it up, you will get your nanowires. So these wires are highly crystalline in nature, as well as they have a high aspect ratio too. What will happen? So what I am taking is, I am taking a glycerol, I am taking a silver precursor, nothing but the silver nitrate, and I am adding a pinch of salt. Say for example, which is around 2.5 millimolar salt. If I didn't add the salt, what will happen is we will end up with the particles. If you didn't add any salt, it is like adding a salt in this food. If you don't add the salt in your food, you don't like it actually. Likewise, if you don't add a salt in the system, you will end up with the particles. You won't get any wires out of it. So these are all the particles having a diameter of ranging from 30 to 100 nanometer. They are all small in nature. You can use this process for the synthesizing nano particle also. If you're really interested in the nanoparticles, you can use this process. Very simple process. You take a silver precursor, put it in a glycerol, heat it up for 25 minutes. You can see the color change, and you will end up with the particles. And we have found the particle diameter range also. These particles are polycrystalline in nature, and they have very thin crystallographic boundaries. Then what I am doing is I'm just introducing a 2.5 millimolar NaCl into the system. So it started producing the wires, but they are all the short wires. So I'm just adding a pinch of salt into the system, the system behaves well. The recipe tastes good actually. So it started producing the wires, but the wire taste is not that much good. What I mean is the length of wire is not that much good for my application. So they are all having a 12 micrometer length, but which is not sufficient for our system. Which is not still not we won't get a decent film out of it. So we got these angles. They are all greater than that of 90 degrees. So they are all acute angles actually. So what is happening is here in one silver particle, at one particle, just a minute, at one particle, if I am able to mark it. So if you consider one particle over here, once you supply a small amount of salt over here, this particle started to grow at this point. So from one particle, the wires will started to grow from like this. So you will end up with wide angled, greater than 90 degree angled, wires in this system. So these are all the fusions. If you check these fusions, fusion, let me clear this. If you check this fusion, this is a perfect fusion actually. This fusion is very perfect. So it's starting from a growth of one single crystal. So this is a perfect fusing, and we can expect this may be the growth mechanism, because you can see there is a gap over here also. That gap you can see here also, and this angle is a wide angle. Here also the angle is a wide angle. Okay, so at this plane, crystals are atoms have started hitting this, and it is producing the growth in this. This side was passivated with the PVP. So probably I will be explaining this next couple of slides. Okay, sorry. So are you able to hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm further increasing the salt concentration. So I'm going from 2.5 to 5 millimolar concentration. I'm able to get linear wires when relatively compared to the previous system. Here I'm getting a very linear wires, but these are all capped with the polyvinyl pyrrolidone, what we use for as a capping agent. So these capping we found around 100 nanometer thickness of 10 nanometer thickness of coating of PVP over this silver nano wires actually. So these will prevent from one point it is a negative, because these 10 nanometer thickness PVP is insulating in nature. If you increase the PVP, you won't get a conducting wire, because it will wind over this silver nano wire, which will decrease its conducting property. But the thickness is 10 nanometers, so the electrons can tunnel through this thickness, so they are still conducting in nature. And you can, if you want to remove this PVP, you just wash away with water, and you may get that remove this PVP. What I'm doing, I'm increasing my sodium chloride concentration. If you see over here, when 0 mole, I mean no NaCl is added, it is started producing particles. But if you go for a higher concentration, say for example 5 millimolar, greater than 5 millimolar, I am able to see AgCl crystals also inside the system. So we found that 5 millimolar is sufficient for the preparation, and they are all abundant in a triple plane actually. So if you go for a higher concentration of NaCl, you say for example, if you are adding a more salt to your food, then you can't eat the food presently. So that will change the entire property of your food. Likewise, if you add more salt to the system, it will spoil the property of the wire, and it will decrease the growth of this wire. So with these experiments and with these results and various results like the TEM and the SEM measurements, we are able to conclude this growth something like this. So what I have over here is I have a silver silver nitrate, which is a silver precursor. Then I have a polyvinyl pyrrolidone as a PVP, and I have taken a glycerol as a medium, and I am heating it around 150 degree. What you will be getting is out of is getting a silver nanoparticles actually. These are all the particles where no NaCl is used. NaCl is absent over here. So NaCl is absent. But if you go for a NaCl, small amount of NaCl, and the etching will be produced, because this PVP will cap in this 111 plane. The PVP will be absorbed in the 111 plane because their affinity towards the 100 plane is high. So 111 plane, this plane will be vacant actually. So the silver ions will come and sit over here, and which will promote the growth in the one direction, and which will give you the silver nano wires actually. Okay. So this is a possible growth mechanism. Okay, here comes the real problem. You got a wires, but still it has a particles along with it. So you cannot, in the solution process, if you are looking for growth of wire, you cannot avoid this growth of the particle, because they are all wires are growing from these particles, right? So you cannot avoid them basically. So what I can do, so producing particles along with the nanowire is it will obviously it will happen. You cannot avoid it. So what you can do, you can remove them. So what are all the unwanted things you have to remove? First one is the nanoparticles, which you have to remove. If you have a glycerol organic solvent, that you have to remove. There will be some excess PVP, which will reduce your conductivity, that you have to remove. And if these three components are present, what will happen? It will increase your contact resistance. These particles will act as a scattering sites actually. If you pass a light, it will scatter. Light will come here, hit over here, and it will scatter. So these will act as a scattering sites. So you have to, whatever it costs, you have to remove these particles out of the system. How is this system looks like? Say for like the system is now like Chinese noodles actually. So these are all, assume these things are your particles, and this is your small rods over here. This chili you consider as a small rods, and your noodles are your distilled substance actually. What it is, I would refer this as a nanowires. Like you have a system, something like noodles, prepared noodles like structure.
Yes, sir.
In a nanoscale. Consider you have a set of nano noodles with nanoparticles, nano chilies, and the nano paneer. So in that nano noodles, I have to take it out. In that nano cooked noodles, I have to take it out only the spaghetti or noodles alone. So is it possible? Obviously it is possible with the help of chemistry. What you can do is, if you take this as prepared solution, do some centrifugation, this particle solution will float away, particles will float, the metallic nanowires will settle in the bottom. You take away those things and filter it, then you will be getting a silver nanowire flexible films. So these films are flexible in nature. You take a piece out of it, these films, and you can disperse it with water or any organic solvent. So what it is actually, how is it the purification process is good? Yes, it is good, because if you take the supernatant, say for example, this solution, I am talking about this supernatant, this solution, which will have only the particles. If you see, as prepared substance here, which will have particles, this red color shows the particles as well as this wires. But this supernatant will only have the particles. So it shows that you can able to remove the particles from the system. And if you check the film's resistance, which is falls to 1.9 ohm, almost a kind of 2 ohm, which shows that these films are metallic in nature. So the amount of PVP is reduced in the film, which shows that if the PVP content is more in this film, you will have an insulating film. You won't get the conducting film out of it. It shows that these films are conducting nature, so there is a less amount of PVP, or I would say that I have lost the excess PVP from the films. And you are able to fabricate a get a dispersion out of it also. You can create a dispersion out of it. You take a piece of this film and you can mix it with water. It will disperse actually. That is one of the major advantage of this process. So as I already mentioned, the resistance is very less. So it's metallic in nature. How does it, whether it is actually purified or uh, I'm just showing that I have removed this particle. So yes, the answer is yes. I have purified it in a nice way. If you see this figure here, you are able to see a lot of particles over here. If you see closely watch, you can have a lot of polymers here. But after purification, if you disperse it, you will get only wires. These wires are having 12 micrometers of length. They are a good length wires actually. Now what I have to do, I have a wire solution of silver nano wires, and I can make a dispersion also. Then the process is very simple. You spray it or spin coat it. For a small scale, you can go for a spin coating. So I have already mentioned the spray coating process. Here I am going with a spin coating process since it is a very simple and within a minute you can fabricate a film out of it. So what I will do, I take a glass substrate, fit it in a vacuum chuck, and pour a couple of drops of this silver nanowire dispersion in IPA, and I will get a transparent conducting film which will have a resistance less than that of 100 ohm. So if you see that plot over here, you can see the resistance of the film. Say for example, over here the transparency of the film is around 85%, and which will have the resistance less than 100 ohm. So these films having the good figure of merit also, which is the industry measure for this transparent film. The figure of merit, if you have a figure of merit greater than that of 35, you can easily go for any industrial applications like thin film fabrication, like a solar cell fabrication, like heater fabrication, like display fabrications. So what they will ask is, they will ask for the figure of merit is 35. So it is falls around 101. We are hitting a 100, more than 100 value. So these films are industrial standard films. So you can go for the industrial applications also. So again, the process is very simple. I want to measure this heating effect of this film. So I just connect it with the power supply. I have connected in series a multimeter in order to measure the resistance of the films or current flowing in the films, and I measure the heating temperature with the help of IR camera. So what will happen is, so if I power on over here, if I switch it on this volt, say for example, if I am supplying a 10 volt, the temperature of the film will increase and it will reach a steady state. And if I switch it off over here, if I off over here, cancel the power supply, then will gradually reach its temperature, room temperature. So with the seat resistance of 20 ohm per square, and from room temperature to, I am able to reach 254 degrees centigrade with the help of 10 volt. Say for example, you have a mobile adapter and you connect it with this film, you can heat it up 250 degree with this simple film, with simple process. So which will find a potential application also. So far I am talking about this silver nanowire, why it is a wonderful material. Carbon, we have a justification, right? In carbon, if we have a carbon, we have a justification that 1 gram ash is 1 kilo, 1 ton of carbon, you can get it for 100 rupees, and 1 gram is 1,300 US dollars, which is almost around 1 lakh rupees. But what is the beauty of this silver nanowire says, if you go for a silver in a bulk price, you may have it a silver less than 100 rupees, you can buy a gram of silver. But check this price of this suspension. You have a 25 ml of suspension, 0.5% IPA suspension of AG nanowires, which is rated around 50,000 rupees INR in Sigma Aldrich. You can check the price today also. So even I would say 25 milligram or 25 milligram of nano wire, which will cost around 50,000 rupees. So you can turn a 1 gram material, which is comes around 100 rupees. You can transform that material. If you are a good chemist, you can transform that material to 50,000 rupees material easily. So it's a $1 million business nowadays, because there are so many patents are coming in this synthesis process. So it has a huge market value. You can see from market, you can day by day, the market revenue using this silver nanowires is increasing. Say for example, it is hitting $1 million business actually. So it is expected to increase in future due to the flexible electronic devices. So it's a wonderful material. So I have given a process how we can fabricate a films. But see, not only this fillings, conductors, it will find different applications. If you are able to realize a transparent conducting filling out of this silver nanowires, you can use it for transparent heaters, transparent electrodes. You can use it as a flexible heaters. You can create a OLED out of it. You can create a stretchable LEDs. You can fabricate a solar cell lamp. So which will find different potential application and which has a huge demand in the market. Okay. So far, I am talking about one-dimensional structures. In that, what I will did is what I have done is simply I'm taking a one-dimensional structure, mixing it together, and creating a web out of it, and I am fabricating transparent electrodes. Here comes a new technique. So using the crackle lithography, I will tell you what is this crackle lithography, and with that, I am able to produce one-dimensional structures in a connected way that is used as a transparent conductors. Okay. So what are these cracks? These are the different cracks we experience in day-to-day life. First one is the mobile crack. Second, you can see if someone's specs has been cracked, and you can see some cracks over in the field also without water. There are some cracks in the pond, some statue with the cracks. So cracks are unavoidable. So mistakes are unavoidable in human life. Likewise, the cracks are unavoidable. The worst crack, what I feel is this one. If you are not getting a water, that will be a worst crack.
Hello.
Then when the cracks will become good. So if you
Then
fill
நீங்க
the
அதுக்கு போ
cracks
அதுல water
with the
chemistry
proper
போடணும்ல.
material, even the cracks will look in a pleasant way. There are a couple of cracks I have shown here, and they are all
ஐயோ
filled
இதுல ஆன்
with
பண்ண முடியாதேடா.
different materials. Nature has the ability to mix
வேற
fill
பிரசாந்தி
this
யாராவது உள்ள இருக்காங்களா?
cracks with the flowers. So you can see
ஓ,
there's some
அவங்க water chemistry.
pleasant
வேற யார்
pictures
இருக்கா?
in the bottom, and there are available crackle nail polishes also, which I will use for these cracks. So there are some art is there. You can take the broken pottery and you can fix it with the gold ceilings and gold fillings, and you can create different decorative items out of it. So cracks are good when it is filled with some beautiful substance, filled with periodical manner, or if it is filled with nice objects. What I'm doing is I'm going to create a crack out of it. I use this crackle nail polish. I am spreading this nail polish over it and drying it. So likewise, how the mud cracks, likewise this nail polish also will crack. Then I am depositing the metals using this physical PVD process, physical vapor deposition process. I'm depositing the metal, and I am removing this nail polish. So what I am doing is I am creating cracks. I am creating cracks. Then I am going for a lithographic process. What I will do, I deposit metal and remove the template. Template will be removed. So in this case, I am creating a crack and following a lithographic process. So these are all this process is called crackle lithography. What is this? Films. You can go for the arbitrary substrates also. Not only the plain substrate, you can put over the different these kind of structures. You can even realize a transparent conducting films on your test tube. You can use it as a test tube like a heaters, and the transparent conducting films are realized. Okay, what is the advantage here? So here I am using a physical vapor deposition which we need a vacuum actually. So far I have talked about the solution process. So if I do the solution process also, I am able to deposit solution process also, I am able to fabricate a film out of it. So this process without vacuum also, you can do the solution processing also. These electrodes are used to realize different applications like touch screen, invisible switches, and transparent heaters are realized. Mainly these transparent conductors, which will find different applications. You can realize these fillings on flexible substrates also. So which will find a lot of flexible device applications. And you can use it as a defoggers also. Here you can see here some fogs are there. Here you can transparent in nature. You can see what is inside that container, and you can use it for a EMI shields. And you can say, for example, here I have poured some liquid nitrogen. You can able to remove the frost also. They are not only the defoggers, they are defrosters also. So in such a way, it will find different applications, these fillings. And these are all the some of the prototypes what we realize using this electrode. So this is a heater. You can see the transparency level. You can use it as a small heaters. There are touch devices or touch screen devices are realized actually. These are some of the prototypes what we realized using this process. And roll-to-roll processing. This is a compatible with the roll-to-roll processing, and it's a freestanding metal mesh can be created actually. So these are all the good electrodes even for the silicon solar cells. And as I already shown, these are all the good transparent heaters actually. And in future, what we expect is you can expect some flexible and rollable devices using this transparent conductive film. So in future, people expect these devices are realizable with these kind of coatings. And coming to the summary, this device area is a mature area actually, but it's not going to exhaust because there are new alloys, new materials, compositions or composites, or mixing of a couple of two materials day-to-day life. It is coming one by one. So it's even though it looks like a mature area of research, but it's not going to exhaust actually. So if you really wanted to take this as a research area, it would be very nice, and you will have at the end of couple of years, you will realize a very good devices actually. And I would acknowledge a few people. The past 45 to 50 minutes presentation is not possible without these research supervisors. First, I would like to thank my PhD research supervisor, Professor Manivannan. Most of the work were carried out over there during my PhD program. Then metal mesh electrodes were done at Professor Kulkarni's lab. He is the director of JNCSR and CNS. And that crackle lithography was performed in his lab. However, I would like to I didn't talk about much about the 2D materials today, since this topic is exclusively for the one-dimensional materials. Later, I will get some more opportunity to talk about these 2D materials, where I did my postdoc with Professor John Finlay in Technical University of Munich, where I have explored some 2D materials and photo detectors actually. So those things I didn't talk today. However, I would like to acknowledge him for his nice support. Then I would like to acknowledge some of my collaborators like Yu Chang Park for his giving some carbon nanotubes. Since this material is a little bit expensive, so he supported us with carbon nanotubes, and Chandra Elleswarapu for some optical measurements, and we are going for some nonlinear measurements also with this nanowires, because it shows very interesting nonlinear properties, which I don't discuss over here. Then Professor Sastigumar. So we have done some gas sensing measurements using the silver nanowires. Generally, metals are not sensitive to the gaseous vapors, but we found that these are all very good optical sensors. So they are able to sense this ammonia in a gaseous state with the optical sensor. That also a very good work, and that was supported by Professor Sastigumar. Then I would like to thank Arun for Chile. Arun, who is working as a postdoc in Chile, for nice TEM pictures. I have not shown much of the TEM images. However, we got a very good, interesting structures of silver nanowires and the carbon nanotubes. capped one, opened carbon nanotubes. Those nice structures were captured with the help of Arun. So I thank him for his TEM images, for his help during this TEM image capture. Then I would like to thank Dr. Rajkumar, who was the guest faculty at CUTN, the secretary of UIT, for a good friendship, as well as giving an opportunity and introducing many of his friends through this UIT platform. And I get to know chairman as well as the trustee and many coordinators, especially Tirumurugan, through him actually. So I like to thank Rajkumar for his good friendship as well as this giving an opportunity. And I would like to thank the president for allowing me to present a talk actually. So it is nice to meet so many people in this online platform, and especially trustees as well as these coordinators for spending the time and taking enormous effort to arrange the people and finding the right people for their trust and giving an opportunity to share our ideas also. Especially this, I would like to thank the president, trustees as well as the coordinators for a nice organization of this program. Then we will go for the question session. If you have any questions, you can ask in this presentation. So I think there is I can take a couple of minutes for question sessions, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Shobhin. It's actually nice talk. I have a few questions on your work. Is it audible?
Yes,
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 sir.
sir.
Yes,
you are
sir.
audible.
Yeah. First of all, I just wondered the polymer that's affecting the conducting property of your sample.
Yes, yes.
I didn't know exactly how it is affected, because usually we can get like a conducting polymer or a conducting polymer material or something. So this for the conducting part, but you said it's
Okay. So
so that was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one question. And
okay.
oh,
Okay. The idea is what we generally use for the dispersion of carbon nanotube is PVP or polyvinyl pyrrolidone or polyvinyl alcohol. Those polymers, I am not talking about the conducting polymers. These are all the polymers like PVP or PVA or good surfactants or polymers to disperse the nanotubes. So these polymers, PVA and PVP, are insulating in nature. So I'm not talking about the conducting polymers. Say, for example, if you go for a conducting polymers like P.PSS, so you will get P dot, say, for example, P dot, you won't have that issue. These are all the conducting polymers, so they won't affect the conductivity. However, when relatively comparing the conductivity of carbon nanotube and PVP, P dot PSS, P dot PSS is less actually. So in order to disperse the nanotube, my best choice would be PVP, which will disperse very nicely, but it will kill the actual surface properties of the nanotubes. So if you go for a P.PSS, I won't get a decent dispersion out of it. The dispersion quality will be less. So it will agglomerate, you can't spray it, you can't spin coat it. So soon it will, within 1 hour, it will agglomerate. So you need I think processing time will be at least 2 hours. So you can't use conducting polymers in order to, they are good in electrical properties, but we have difficulties in processing. That is one of the drawback we have in the conducting polymers. But PVP and PVA are good in dispersion, but they are bad in electrical property wise. So this is there is a trade-off between this conductivity as well as this dispersion rate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if I want to sacrifice
We can conclude
dispersion,
it.
I will go for P.PSS.
Yes.
If I don't want to
Subhashini
sacrifice
is
the dispersion, then
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
go for the
please,
P.PSS. PVP.
and
So-
before doing the measurement, or is it possible to remove all this PVP or insulating materials completely, or is it?
Yes. The straightforward answer would be yes. You can remove it. there are some literature. You can take the film and you can put it in a water. There's PVP and PVA will go away, and put it in a hot water, it will go away. Or you can dip it in a HCl, it will entirely remove this PVP and PVA. There are methods, but the problem is you take a film and if you remove the something from its surface, the uniformity will go. You take a film and you dip it in some post-treatment process, like you put it in the water, it will take away the PVP. Slowly, it will take away the PVP. Meantime, this carbonative can also detach from the film, right? Because you are removing something from its surface. Once you remove entirely from its surface this PVP or PVA, that can liberate the carbon nanotube also from the film. So that is the drawback we have in that post-treatment or removal of PVP or removal of polymer after fabrication of film.
Thank you. And is it the same also for Joule heating in a transparent electrode? Because you said you can produce more heat by doing this method, but yeah, because usually this single one carbon nanotube has a high thermal conductivity.
Yes.
So how does it work to make more heat and it has some?
Okay, for metals, say for example, for metals, you can heat up to around 260 degree. After that, this metal will try to oxidize, or sometimes it will break. Actually, network will break. For carbon nanotubes, the stability of carbon nanotubes in the air ambient will be around 350 degree. So if you take DGA, that will be stable around 360 to 370 degree, this carbon nanotube. So you can go up to 350 degree in a comfortable way in a air atmosphere. But if you put it in vacuum, you can heat up to 1000 degree. Why? Because this carbon-carbon bond, its covalent bond is stable up to 1000 degree. So you can easily go till 1000 degree. If you can keep on increasing this temperature of your supply of electrical energy, you can heat up to 1000 degree at vacuum. So these films in ambient atmosphere, you can heat with the silver nanowires. You can heat up to 250 degree, and for carbon nanotubes you can go up to 350 degree, and in vacuum you can go up to 1000 degree. With respect to the applied voltage, you have to increase the voltage in order to get that much temperature actually.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any other questions?
Dr. Shubhi sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, you are avoiding the surfactants, right?
Yes.
Other than the residual issue, is there any other additional information is there to avoid such anion and cations?
Okay, the residual issue is there. Other than that, this capping. So if you add a surfactant, it will sit over the surface of this nanotubes. So one of the important parameters in the one-dimensional material is having a large surface area. You should have a large surface area, then only you will have a better properties. So you have a large surface area in a one-dimensional structure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You just putting a polymer on the surface, which will hinder the substrate properties of this nanotube. Say for example, if a nanotube is a very good sensor, you cap with PVP, it won't sense. If a nanotube is an electrical conductor, if you cap with polymer, it won't conduct. So other than the residual issues, these it will affect the entire property of the system. That's why I don't want to take risk with polymers actually.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there any other additional information from your patent right experience?
Okay, regarding the patent experience, what I have done is we have these are all some of the results we got it from the heaters. what I have done is for the regarding the pattern work, what I have done. I have improved. There is one pattern from improved electrothermal device. Generally, people will fabricate the device and they will go test for the heating. What I have done is I have fabricated the film and I have dipped with some special solvents like mixing of alcohol and alcohol and some acids. There is a mixture of solvent, that is a formulation what we found out. And if we dip it, so generally what you will get is if you mix alcohols and acids, you will get a ketone. Basically, that is the chemistry, right? If you mix alcohol and if you with acid, you will get a ketone. But at one stage, if you choosing the right volume, if you mix alcohol and alcohol and acid, if you mix in a proper way, you may not get a ketone. You will get a in between substance like a turbid kind of solution. If I dip that films in the turbid kind of solution, what I am getting is I have found that increased conductivity. So we have a acid, we have alcohol. Acid will remove all the debris in the system. The alcohol will wet the fillings. So we have a very smooth and a very highly increased conductivity in that fillings. So that is the one of the patent idea. Another one is we have fabricated some hybrid structures. So we have a carbon nanotubes, we have a silver nanowires, and we have some fabricated some hetero structures of these films, and we have realized some heaters on papers. So papers means we have some daily use some papers, right? Filter paper and so many papers, tissue papers. We are using it. We are realized the devices on paper also. So we realize not only in the glass or silicon substrate, we realize the sensor devices on paper which can able to sense. So if the sensor is bad, you can throw it away, you can dispose it easily. So that is the paper sensor work. So regarding the patent filing, what we have done, we have through the institute we found some patent attorney, because we cannot directly go and register the patent. We need an attorney to register our claims. So with respect to the claims, they will go with the minimum. They ask for around 6 to 10 claims for each patent. Then only they will approve from the institute. So we have formulated the 10 claims for each patent, and we got approval and we filed it. Say for example, it is taking around 3-4 years of time to evaluate the patent, depending upon the complexity of the patent. If it is a very straightforward process, they will sometimes you will get it within a couple of years. If the process is very tedious, they want to verify step by step, they will ask a couple of questions, or in every year you will get a couple of examination, I would say. Then you have to reply for it, and at the end of 2-3 years, you may get a patent. They will award the patent.
Thank you, Dr. Shobin. I have some questions regarding your research. It's a very nice presentation. Actually, most of here we are chemists, but we understand some physics research in this presentation. But you prepared some silver nanotube for sensor, electrothermal sensors, right? So,
Yes.
somebody is doing gold nanotubes, right? Gold.
Yes.
So if we use gold, I think most of the research nowadays for photocatalyst or some other things, they are using gold more efficient than that of silver, like that. Did you use gold nanotubes in this your research?
No. I didn't use gold at all,
Okay.
because if you take a silver precursor,
Okay.
say for example, I can buy a silver for 1 gram of silver for 100 rupees.
Okay.
But if I go for a gold,
Okay.
I have to spend at least 4,000 rupees for 1 gram of gold. Likewise, the precursors also.
Okay,
The silver precursor.
cost wise is okay, but if you
Yes.
get more funding from other DST or some other things,
Yeah, I will go for it.
yeah,
People are
if you
using the cheaper
if you
electrodes.
yeah, if you think gold is more efficient than silver.
Yeah, gold is, I would say more gold is more efficient than silver because oxidation is resistance is good actually in
Okay.
gold,
Okay.
and some crystalline property of gold is good actually.
Okay.
So comparatively, gold is good. Only thing is money matters, right?
Oh, okay. Another one question. Some of the researcher is going on graphene oxide. Graphene oxide and some silver particles are single side particles. Silver or
Yes.
gold, some other single side particle deposited on graphene oxide. So those composites showing very good efficiency in electrochemical as well as thermal, more or less photochemistry also is more efficient than that of
Yes, yes, yes.
pure graphene and like that. So what your opinion on that things?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
I would say you are partially true. Say, for example,
Yeah.
one layer of graphene will
Mm.
give a very good conductivity, no doubt about it. Very good conductor,
Okay.
but which will eat away 3% of
Okay.
your visibility.
Okay.
So, if you take a single layer of graphene, you will have a 97% of transparency.
Okay.
So, I am dealing with the transparency as well as the conductivity.
Mm.
If I am not at all worried about this transparency,
Mm.
I will go for this graphene or graphene based.
Okay.
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 So what I will prefer is I will prefer graphene or graphene metal composites rather than graphene oxide metal,
Okay.
because graphene oxide or reduced graphene oxide will always have a this sp3 functionalized group or oxidized group or OOH, COOH
COOH
group, or
functional
which
groups. Yeah. Yeah.
groups will be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Epoxy groups will be there,
Yeah.
carbonyl groups will be there, so many groups will be there. They are all sp3 in nature.
Okay.
So which will, with sp3, which is the insulating in nature, obviously they will reduce the conductivity of the substance.
Okay.
So only we are introducing, people are started introducing the metals, silver, copper, gold. They are started introducing this metals into the graphene oxide matrix or reduced graphene oxide matrix. They have introduced this metal.
What about metal oxides? You mentioned one slide in metal oxides, right? Yeah.
Metal oxides also you can embed,
Okay.
but still
Mm.
transparency is questionable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay.
So if you come with the graphene,
Okay.
transparency is questionable, but other electrochemical and other properties are very nice. Even we did some sensing also with graphene oxide, reduced graphene oxide and silver composites.
Okay.
They showed very nice sensing properties in electrical as well as optical,
Okay.
because they are having more functional groups in its surface.
Mm.
So they are good sensors in nature, but they don't have a very good conductivity as well as this transparency in nature.
Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Any other questions from participants, please? Dr. Renuga, madam. Okay. I think she is not here.
Okay, I think.
Any other questions from participants? I think no, right? So, Dr. Rajkumar,
Yes.
can
Yes,
we
sir.
conclude?
Yes. Thank you, sir, for your inspiring presentation and enlightening words. Successful and unsuccessful people do not vary greatly in their abilities. They vary in their abilities, they vary in their desires to reach their potential. Now, I request Dr. K. Rajkumar, UAT Secretary, to conclude our event.
So, I will be grateful to Dr. L.R. Shobin, who started with the wonderful world images and end up with the factors of good. So in between that, we can able to learn the nanomaterial, nanocarbon tubes, and sensor mechanism, and the related device, and their experimental setups. How we done in his research experience. So based on his PhD research experience and postdoc research experience, he elaborate the concerned theme, especially with the silver nanotubes and their polymer process. So methodology and the application point of view, everything will be good and nice with the nice presentations. Right now we understand the new feelings that crackers also a good one for creating some more additional wonders. I'm thankful to Dr. L.R. Sobi and those who are the audience. It is in the YouTube. So overall section is under the YouTube. If you want to recall that one, just go to the link. They will share it later. And addition to that, so initially that the registered candidates are more than 50. Due to the time being in the Sunday morning section, the candidates may be less. So we will consider it in the evening time from the next uh, upcoming webinars or upcoming sections. Anyway, nice to thankful for a wonderful audience and the chief guest and our UIT. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. The concluding chapter of this extreme epic is the estimation of our indebtedness from the depth of our decorum. This is a chance to vote and elect all the representatives who have rendered their hands in lifting our pennant. I invite Dr. S. Thirumurugan, UIT coordinator, to close with vote of thanks.
Very good afternoon to all. Gratitude makes happiness for today and a big vision for tomorrow. Therefore, it's my pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this knowledgeable occasion. I take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. L.R. Shobin, entitled On Wondrous World of One-Dimensional Matrix Materials. From your knowledgeable lecture, devices realized from materials carbon nanotubes and silver nanowires. Wonders in the devices, mainly transparency and flexibility, are showcased beautifully. New techniques, cracked lithography, and further transparent devices fabrication also discussed in nice manner. Thank you, sir.
Thank
I
you.
like to express my sincere gratitude to our chairman of Universal Intellectual Trust, Dr. A.S. Ganesh Raja, for his everlasting effort to our trust. I would like to express my thanks to our Secretary of UAT, Dr. K. Rajkumar, for his constant encouragement in all the ways to our trust. I express my gratefulness to our Treasurer of UAT, Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, for your sincere hard work in all the activities to develop our trust. I like to express my gratitude to our coordinator of UAT, Dr. Y. Sasikumar, for his constant hard work to our trust. I extend my thanks to all the volunteers of UAT for their constant support, especially Ms. K. Sudharthani for host this occasion to go on smoothly. Finally, I extend my thanks to our participants from various states for their extreme interest to develop knowledge. Once again, I thank you all for this knowledgeable occasion. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sobin sir.
Yeah, thank you, Sobi.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.